something a bit more fun and frivolous has come up in the last few weeks, which also demonstrates the burgeoning potential of satellites. And that is a project that's being worked on by a startup called Reflect Orbital. And what they want to do is basically allow you to, so I'll give you a scenario. Let's say you're down at Goolwa. I know you love it, on the South Australian coast.
I do.
And we're going down the beach. It's 1 a.m. We've had a few beers. We want to have a dance and have some suds. But I forgot to plug my phone in and I haven't got any torches. So what are we going to do? So you open this app, your Orbital, Reflect Orbital app, and you say, hey, here's where we are. You've got a little map that opens up. You click where you are on the map, and then suddenly a light comes shining down from the sky because Reflect Orbital have used their cluster of satellites to just angle the sun's rays onto that specific spot on Goolwa Beach.
Wow.
So you can have a little midnight party and it'll feel like it's the middle of the day.
Just like the Truman Show.
Exactly like the Truman Show. That's right. And they've so far, they released this video and everyone was kind of totally gobsmacked, and then they had to admit, look, this was just kind of a concept video, and people were like, well, maybe they used drones or whatever. And they've used other things like hot air balloons in the past to kind of workshop this technology. But in the next few months, they're planning on actually launching a little fleet of satellites. And of course this video, I had a look at it, and it is just kind of completely otherworldly. This idea that you could be on a rooftop in New York with no direct light, and then you're like, suddenly someone's like, let's fucking get some sunlight up in here. But
the rest of the city would be dark. So you'd have this,
exactly.
Your rooftop would look like the daylight.
Exactly.
Except everything else would be, I can't even picture what that, because that's just not a thing that's ever existed in the history of the world, is a small section experiencing a kind of daylight.
Patch of sun.
Yeah. And
people are wondering, will the mirrors be, will the reflective capacities be as precise as they're promising, and so on. So, could be that the whole block is illuminated and everyone's angry and waking up. But
I mean, it would be perfect for
see.
sport.
It would be ideal for sport. Yeah, it would be good for certain agriculture. Like if you wanted to really supercharge your crops, you could say, I don't need to worry about the fact that the sun's going down. I'm just going to keep these babies cooking. It would be good for solar panels. People are suggesting maybe you could use it for solar farms.
Of course, just have it just like 24-hour, 24/7 sun. Like that's so bizarre. Like these little pockets of Earth that never see night. Never see night.
Yeah. And, that's the thing. There's these huge kind of solar arrays that they're thinking about building.
Imagine what that would look. Imagine that would look like. You'd be on the highway and you'd look to your left, and there would just be beams, columns of light, like shooting down in the nighttime, illuminating solar areas. What would you use one for? And don't just say barbecue.
Doxing, probably. It's probably a bit of doxing.
Yeah, that'd be great. This would be the equivalent of swatting somebody.
Exactly.
To just shoot a bunch of fucking sunlight in their house.
Yeah, a bunch of pesky, sorority girls or fraternity boys would do it to the dean of the college. He'd be asleep in his house, and then suddenly he'd get Louis Louis playing, and then just sunlight streaming through his window. He'd
pulling the blinds down, going,
"Is morning already?"
First thing it's made me think of when you said that is it would solve the problem of not being able to play beach football at nighttime as they do in Point Break. That's the problem that they faced when Johnny Utah was with Patrick Swayze, and Patrick Swayze was on the beach and they were doing a bonfire, and they wanted to play nighttime American football. And what do they have to do?
Right.
They had to turn the headlights of their cars on like a bunch of morons so they could light the beach with headlamps from their cars, which is obviously not great
Yeah.
for the environment, drains the battery of your car, and
Drains
the
the
lights
battery.
pretty shit as well. That's
Exactly.
really the main use that I was thinking, is that if they did Point Break 2, which I can't wait
Yeah.
for, which, by the way, would star a now 60-year-old Keanu Reeves as of the last few weeks.
Wow.
And
There you
60-year-old
go.
Johnny Utah, they're gonna say, Johnny Utah, I remember when you were on the beach and you did really well at American football and we did the headlights. Let's do that again. And then he goes, yeah, let's do it again. But this time I got something different. And he clicks his fingers, and then all the sunlight shoots out of the sky, and everybody goes, oh, because we have that technology now. And I'm really enjoying Point Break 2. I'm glad we paid admission. I'm glad we paid admission.
And I miss Patrick Swayze.
It's Patrick Swayze.
And Gary Busey looks very much worse for wear. But I like the lights.